Today, we're exploring a mind-bending discovery that could fundamentally change how we define life itself. We're talking about Sukunarcheeum, which is a bizarre organism that lives somewhere in the gray area between a virus and a living cell. Are zombies in our future, John? What's going on here?
Yeah, so let me try this. So scientists have discovered this microscopic organism that changes our understanding of what it means to be quote-unquote alive. So the tiny creature named Sukunarcheeum maribile, I hope I said that right. If I didn't, feel free to destroy me. So it exists in a biological gray zone between living cells and viruses, which is something that shouldn't be possible according to traditional definitions of life. And as we cover a lot here, we all know that things are pushing the boundaries of definitions and different things like that. So let me put it this way. Think of it this way. Imagine finding an animal that's half bird, half airplane. It has some bird features like feathers and bones, but also airplane features like metal parts and engines. That's essentially what scientists found in the microscopic world. So this organism has some features of living cells where it can make its own proteins and replicate its genetic material, but also behaves like a virus. It can't survive without completely depending on another organism for almost everything. Now, you don't have to worry about this. This creature is so small that its entire genetic blueprint contains only 238,000 letters of DNA. That's less than half the size of any similar organism ever discovered. And to put that into perspective, while some viruses can have millions of generic letters, this living organisms have fewer than many viruses, yet it's still considered technically a cell. So the discovery, it's actually revolutionary because it suggests that the boundary between life and not life isn't a clear line, but rather more of a spectrum. And so it also hints that there might be entire categories of life forms we haven't discovered yet. Surprise, surprise, hiding in the microscopic world and challenging everything we thought we knew about biology. I'm not surprised about this finding, just given how little we know about life and death and things like that. But what are your thoughts, Craig?
Yeah, it seems basically that part of this virus survival mechanism is to strip itself of its own genome to make it smaller and less reliable on things. And so the genome reduction as a survival method is an incredibly thought-provoking idea.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. So let's talk about cellular versus viral, right? So unlike viruses, which hijack the machinery of their hosts entirely, the Sukunarcheeum carries some of its own replication tools. So it has genes for ribosomes, tRNAs, and even mRNAs, which are components that are the scaffolding of life and tools by which cells read their genomes and build proteins. Viruses don't have these capabilities. So that's what's making this Sukunarcheeum an evolutionary paradox, an organism that can replicate its genetic code, but is otherwise almost entirely dependent on its host, which seems weird. So the microbes, quote unquote, intense focus on self-propagation, even at the expense of nearly all metabolic capabilities. It resembles viral strategies, but it stands apart from viruses in one notable way because it can replicate its own genetic material independently. So almost all of the Sukunarcheeum's identified genes are involved in DNA replication, transcription, and translation, which are capabilities that viruses lack and must hijack from their hosts. So it's interesting. I'm curious to know kind of where it fits in the evolutionary puzzle, if that makes sense. But I think there's a whole lot more to unpack here that we're going to see in the future.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I know all the stuff I've researched said there's nothing to fear here. But, that's today. As we discover new types of things that can survive but need a host to feed off of. Humans make good hosts, and I'm always curious as to how long it takes for that to be the situation. Not necessarily with this, but with something else we discover down the road. Again, that's the pessimist and skeptic in me, but this is a positive one for science. It forces researchers to rethink and potentially rewrite the long established rules and boundaries that define life, and agree, like, how can a fossilized thing be alive? How can this thing stripped down to the thing that doesn't have the pieces that we would normally associate with life? How does that happen?
Yeah. So the team itself, they're trying to take pictures of the Sukunarcheeum, which is challenging because it's much less than 1 micron wide, which is 400 nanometers or smaller. And so their future research, it seems like it aims to culture and observe it directly in laboratory conditions to visualize its structure and host interactions, which could inform synthetic biology efforts to create minimal artificial cells. So this suggests that biological reality exists on a continuum rather than discrete categories. So there's a lot of implications here for biology and beyond.
Yeah, saying that biology and life exists on some sort of scale that we never thought before. There's a lot to really think about here. And, what are the ongoing replications, our moral and ethical implications, never mind, life. If we have these organisms out there that are totally dependent on the host for sustenance, for complete metabolic dependence, and replication. So, you get this attaches itself to its body and it's replication focused to whatever. So it's just replicating like crazy. If it's feeding off something, I can't imagine that's good to whatever it's feeding off of.
No, absolutely not. The thing is like, how long has this thing been around? We just haven't discovered it yet. So back to don't be afraid, because like I feel like this is just a new discovery of something that's been around forever. But I think by studying it, it's definitely going to help us have a better understanding of biology, for sure.
Absolutely. It's probably harmless right now until scientists get their hands on it and start poking and prodding and doing weird stuff with it, because they're all want to push the envelope that a little too far. But this is really cool. I like where we're going. Implications for astrobiology. Discovery has significant implications for astrobiology and the search for life beyond Earth. Minimal life signature shows that life can exist with extreme reduced genomes. Demonstrates the host-dependent systems demonstrate alternative survival strategies, and evolutionary flexibility reveals the adaptability of cellular life. This reminds me of the three-body problem, if you read the books. Like that, complete disasters can happen, and the other species, I can't remember what it's called, strips itself down to whatever minimum thing, and then when life becomes habitable again, it packs on whatever genomes or expands or whatever, and they become sentient again.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's interesting. I think it's great to watch this. It's really cool to think that we're really pushing beyond the envelopes of what is life, what we thought was life last year or a month ago, and where this is moving forward. I'm really looking forward to where this is going. Yeah, so that's a wrap. But
nope, that's it. Just say me too.
That's a wrap on this incredible look into the very edge of life. Sukunarcheeum reminds us that the universe is far stranger than we can imagine, with countless secrets still hiding in plain sight, even within a single drop of ocean water. It forces us to ask a bigger question, not just about what life is, but where we might find it next. Let us know what you think. So what do you got going on, John?
Yeah, well, just helping companies secure government funding. So, it's a great time to reach out if you have any questions. How about you, Craig?
Well, there's a lot going on over at flowgrammer.ca. We're doing automation and AI and business processes. We do events, but we're really ramping our business up. And check out all the things we're doing over there. If you're interested in business automation, we've got community events. where we're teaching everyone. We do an online, and we're about to launch our new resource center, flowgrammars.ca, which might be out when some of these are out. Other than that, check out for everything we do. Our monthly startup investor drinks, where you get to pitch to the crowd, business owners and investors, and have real conversations and make real connections. So for all those things, check out TorontoStarts.com. And for everything else, anything else, John, before we say goodbye?
No, just reach out to me on LinkedIn, John Irwin, if you want.
John Irwin on LinkedIn. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.